Hey everyone, Theo here. Today I'm reviewing the KeysMe Lunar 01 wireless mechanical keyboard that comes with fidget spinners by the side and this light bar that can react to sound and music. First of all, disclaimer, this is a review unit provided by the company, and in this video I'll just present to you my findings so that you can decide whether this is worth the money. The price of this keyboard with this particular design is US $240 at the time of review. Let me give you the bottom line up front. This keyboard has 87 keys without the numpad. The tactile typing experience is quite satisfying. Now the main selling point of this keyboard is the design, because there are many keyboards out there with fantastic, wonderful typing experience. So the selling point here is the design, and if you don't like this design, then well, you can get more affordable keyboards. This is the fidget spinner, which can attach to the side of the keyboard with magnets, and the magnets are quite strong. So that's the spinning mechanism, which to me is kind of gimmicky, but it's part of the design. So this keyboard looks good and works well. Let's talk about the downsides or limitations. This keyboard supports 2.4 GHz wireless connection with the included receiver, but there is no space on the keyboard to store this receiver, even though it's a big keyboard. The next downside is this keyboard can be used with Windows and Mac OS. However, there is no Mac OS driver. Without the Mac OS driver, Mac users cannot customize the function keys or create macros. Windows users, of course, don't have to worry about that. By the way, if you don't want to see the sound-activated dancing lights at the top, you can actually remove the whole black part and use that area as a dock for phones. Another downside, if it's a downside, is sometimes while typing, my finger would accidentally brush against the fidget spinner and this would spin. So you can see this as a feature or not. Anyway, if you don't want that to happen, you can always remove this. So those are the main pros and cons. And now on to the full review. Let's have a look at the items included with the purchase. This is the packaging box, which looks pretty nice with this holographic effect, which is also on the back and sides. So let's open this. We have a cover with the blueprint or schematic of the keyboard, and that's the keyboard with all the items. So besides the keyboard, there is a USB-A 2.4 GHz wireless receiver, and there is no space on the keyboard to store this receiver, so make sure you do not lose this. This is a pry tool. This is to help you open the back of the keyboard and also help you remove the light bar at the top, a keycap and switch puller, a very flexible braided 1.4 meter long USB-A to USB-C charging cable with plastic wrapping that's quite difficult to peel off. This is the user guide, which you will probably want to read through because it has all the keyboard shortcuts. And lastly, there are two fidget spinners. According to the company, there is this other version of the fidget spinner which is battery powered and has lights coming from the bottom. So to get those, you will have to contact the company directly. The fidget spinners would attach to the sides of the keyboards with very strong magnets, and you can have the rockets point up or point down, however you prefer. This keyboard is available in several designs. This one is Lunar White KDA, which is US $240. So this comes with the orange spacebar and the striped escape and enter keys. There is a rather similar one called Lunar White EDM, and that one comes with the orange escape and enter keys and a white spacebar, and that is US $200. There is also whole black, US $200, crystal blue, $230, caramel latte, $266 US, and ghost ship, $230. Now the prices are at the time of review. Shipping cost is not included, but there may or may not be free shipping depending on how much you spend on their website. So let's take a closer look at this design. Let me first turn off the lights first. And I also want to turn off the dancing lights at the top. Let me just press and hold this. Okay, now it's off. Design of this keyboard looks quite different compared to most keyboards out there in the market because of the fidget spinners by the side. So whether you like this design really comes down to personal preference. For me, I think the keyboard looks pretty nice. It's quite unique. And the letters, the design look pretty good. It is possible to lift the keyboard using the fidget spinners by the side, but I don't recommend that in case, the fidget spinners dislodge and the keyboard falls to the ground. The legends on the function keys are quite obvious. So you can use the function keys as well, the function keys F1 to F12, or you can use them as function key shortcuts. And you can customize the function keys using the Windows driver that's provided. And that's the knob which you can use to adjust volume. There are 87 keys without the numpad, and the weight of this keyboard is 1.32 kg, which is kind of heavy, which feels really solid. The build quality is quite solid as well, even though it's made of plastic throughout. The keys on the top right side are print screen, screen lock, pause break, insert home, page up, page down, and delete. The three lights here are for caps lock, battery life, and connection. To switch between 2.4 to cable to Bluetooth connection, you can use this toggle at the top. And this is to toggle between Mac and Windows keyboard layout, and that's the USB-C charging port for the keyboard. Some of the keys have names of planets, so that's Earth, Uranus, Hermes is not a planet, Venus, Neptune, Mars. This keyboard is gasket mounted and hot swappable. That's how the connectors look. So this switch that I have here is Baby Kangaroo 2, which is a tactile switch. And this is pre-looped in the factory, so this is quite smooth. There is also the option of G Pro Silver 3, which is a linear type switch. The keycaps are made with PBT with dice sublimated legends. The fidget spinners actually look quite good from this angle. This is the sound that it makes when it's spinning. It can spin for a long time, but it's not going to spin forever. Let's remove this and have a look at the key profile, which is KDA, which is a mix of cherry profile and KDA profile. So it has this concave profile. This is the back of the keyboard. There are no screws, but there are holes at the edges. So you can use the pry tool to pry open the back. And these are the collapsible feet. And you can get two heights from the feet. If you're using the keyboard flat on the table, there are 5 rubber feet. So for this keyboard with the key profile, I actually prefer to use the feet. So I have tactile switches on this keyboard, and the typing experience is very satisfactory. The keys are dampened, and when typing, there's no rattling sound from the fidget spinners. The only downside I would say is the spacebar feels and sounds kind of hollow compared to the other keys, which feels much better. The sound activated light bar at the top can be removed, and you can use this area as a dock for your phone. And to remove this, you have to use the ply tool to open this side here. And this bar is actually glued down, so as you pull you can hear the glue dislodging. So this is how the lights look. Wow. So you can remove this as well as the, I'm not sure what this is called. Anyway, you can remove all those things, and you can also remove the lights here. So here I have my phone inside the dock, and this phone has a case. I don't like this angle because it's too upright and there's no way to adjust the angle, and this dock is not that deep, so it's not possible to put a tablet here even though there is space to put a tablet. If you put a tablet here, the tablet will actually fall out of the dock because it's not that deep, and also the tablet will be angled too vertically as well. Having a dock for your phone or tablet interior is actually very useful. It's just that the design of this is not ideal. So let me just put the lights back into the dock. So this is what the lights are called: KeysMe Outer Spacey, probably typo, noise receiver. And we can see the electronic parts as well, which is pretty cool. Another thing about using this as a dock is you have to find some place to store all these things that you have just removed. So let me just put this back and paste this back. Let's look at the driver and see what it can do. Currently I have the keyboard connected to this laptop using cable connection, because if you use wireless connection, the driver will take a much longer time to detect the keyboard, and also when you save settings through wireless connection, the settings will take much longer to save. So that's why I'm using cable connection right now. This driver is only available for Windows and not Mac OS, so Mac OS users will not be able to customize the keys. And this is where you can customize the function keys as well as, well, other keys. I must say that I did not really try customizing the keys because, I mean, all the shortcuts, they work fine for me, so I don't have to add additional shortcuts. But if you need additional key customization, this is where you can do so. So you can create different configurations and save those configurations and switch between the configurations. This is where you can create your macros, which are programmable keys that will run in sequence. This can be useful if you need to use macros. This is where you can change and select the different lighting effects. There are lighting effects you can choose, and when you switch between the effects will update here. So you can see very clearly what are the effects and how they look. And if you want to adjust brightness and the speed, you can do it through the driver, or you can use the keyboard shortcuts to do all those. You can also use the keyboard shortcuts to switch between the different lighting effects. So right now I don't have any music playing, and this is just one of the lighting effects. So I'm going to play some music now, and now the lighting effects change to react to music. So you can see the lights here, which actually means there is some volume. And this light bar at the top will still react to external noise, like typing or me talking, but the lights on the keys will react to the music or the volume of the media that you are playing. So if I press pause again on the music, you can see it goes back to the lighting, the usual lighting effects. If I play, the lights here will react to the volume of the media. And you can choose different lighting effects for playing media. The lights are very customizable. You can choose between different lighting effects that will respond to the volume of the music. And for those keys that are not affected by the volume, you can customize the colors for those lights as well. Let's look at the quality of the lights. By the way, if the lights are flickering, it's due to my camera settings. It's not because the lights are actually flickering. So the glow of the lights look very beautiful, but the lights do not go through the letters. So when you're typing at night, just note that the lights don't go through the letters. So to switch between different lighting effects, you can press the keyboard shortcut function delete. Yeah, so you can go through all the different lighting effects to choose the one that you prefer. And you can adjust the speed of the lighting effect by pressing function left arrow or right arrow. Once you hit the limit, the keyboard will flash white to tell you that's the maximum or the minimum limit. And if you do not want the lights, you can just turn them off. Battery capacity for this keyboard is 4000 milliamp hours, which is quite common for wireless mechanical keyboards. And the battery life for this is rated at 800 hours without the lights. I wasn't able to test the battery life because it's very difficult for me to test. All I can say is 4000 milliamp hours battery capacity is alright. The one downside that relates to battery life is there is no way for me to see the percentage of the battery life with keyboard shortcut, so you have to rely on the battery life indicator here. The light will be green, orange or red, so when it's red, it's low on battery life and you know it's time to charge the keyboard. Alright, to conclude, the KeysMe Lunar 01 wireless mechanical keyboard looks good and works well. Now this is definitely quite a pricey keyboard, so whether it's worth the money really comes down to whether you like this design. I think the design looks great, but design really comes down to personal preference, so only you can decide whether this is worth the money. And that's all I have to say.